10, 15 years ago won't buy much of anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him, and 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability.
RTD Live Talk, Monday night, back at it for round 2. And as always, as I get into log on, there's some type of glitch on the back end, which is the reason why I started and stopped again. But I'm here as of now for as long as I can be on air. We'll see how this thing turns out. But other than that, people, appreciate you guys tuning in. So the goal is to get your thoughts on a variety of subject matters. More importantly, from the subtitle, from the title of this video, what's on your mind. Want to find out what's happening in your world or your personal economy or your neck of the woods. So as always, my name is Mike, the host of RTD, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. And so let's talk, people. I want to get your thoughts on the video I did earlier with Mr. Rick Rule, as well as the episode from RTD University segment that I posted in reference to God's money. And then also I've had a lot of comments from in the chat in reference to the Litecoin giveaway that ends this Thursday. And so I realized that since I put it out there last week, I haven't had a chance to actually, answer any questions or whatnot in relations to how it all goes down. But other than that, if you guys are interested, if you have not yet, if you have an interest, it's at no cost to you guys whatsoever, just trying to promote awareness as well as just more adoption for that space there. It's a coin that's very popular, and regardless of what you feel about it, it ain't going anywhere. So if you want, in the description below, there's a link there where you can register to enter to win, some free crypto. So thought I would just do something different. As always, I love having an opportunity to give away some things and want to definitely put something in your pocket if you're interested in doing so. But as always, let me see who's checking in via chat. If we have any new viewers, feel free to let me know where you're watching from in the chat or the number above my head, 1-833-LIVE-RTD. Give me a call. We'd love to hear your voice. So what we got here, we got Low Blood from Corpus Christi. Patrick, what's up, my friend? Spirit, how you doing, my friend? Will Edwards says, Mike, your guest and author of Gold's Money was very enlightening. Will, definitely, it was great to have Justine join us. And so, actually, once again, this past weekend, I've had a lot of technical glitches on my part due to my error. I end up, deleting my whole operating system in my computer, so I had to end up having to do an interview with him twice, but yet it just got better and better because he touched on a lot of things that, from the Bible that you tend to forget about, and just really shine some light on the aspect of gold and silver, especially if you had a chance to watch it all the way through, when he used basically just the economic models based upon how Abraham and Joseph, 2 different stories throughout the Bible, is very relevant for today's for your personal finances rather. So very encouraging or whatever. So I definitely, guys, check the book out as well. I've had a chance to thumb through it via the online version, and it is very interesting. You'd be surprised at how many verses refer to gold and silver in there. So, but yeah, definitely worth checking out. So I like God's Money. The guy was very good. Interesting topic, very much so. Angel, it says, with the stock market crash, what jobs are in jeopardy and what jobs are going to still hang around? Angel, very good question. And so let me think about that off the top of my head. Stock market crash, what jobs are in jeopardy and what jobs are going to still hang on? So the first thought is, given that, this country, for the most part, it's been shifted to white collar jobs. So a lot of industries, a lot of people who are probably inside of, and pushing paper, those are behind a computer, those are sit behind a desk a lot, might be experience the most heartache right away, just because those jobs tend to not have any real hands-on other than just the the logistical / financial side of things, or marketing or whatever. So those things might be in jeopardy. But I think the positions and the opportunities that might have the best opportunity for most people will probably be things where you're hands on. So that's the carpenters, the mechanics, the farmers, people who actually use their hands, especially if you apply your hands or your skills directly to the earth, or you're one or two cycles away from elements from the earth. Because also, just to hit on the conversation from God's money, he was talking about what presents value, and his argument is that all the substance we need comes from the earth, and God has placed all that here. So everything, if you look around you right now, everything that you see with your naked eye originates from the earth. So the people who can extract it from the earth directly and build for them to sell will do very well, because we're still going to have a need for shelter, housing, clothes, delivery system for all types of things. And so those people will be very well, and then people probably in the salesmen will probably be important as well, because after people build, they're going to need people to sell. So those are some things that come to mind. But definitely, the closer you are to using your hands from the earth, the better you will be, I believe. It says, home of barbecue, Missouri. Patrick James. How's it going, my friend? It says, no thanks, keep your crypto, don't have a wallet yet. Yep, no problem. It's one of them things where not for everybody, but everybody will find themselves utilizing or being forced to utilize something related to that sector. So, something to consider. Says Mike, there's an AI running a hedge fund and winning over humans. What's a job in risk of extinction? That's a job in risk of extinction. AI running a hedge fund. Yeah, Spirit, and that's the thing. A lot of things right now are automated, and I'm hearing more and more about AI, artificial intelligence, and how more of the top companies, the Forbes 500, 100, whatever, are finding ways to automate things, as well as to predict human behavior, as well as just use data to put them in a position where they're going to really not necessarily need human labor as much, just because things will be more automated. And so you factor in the AI with the whole blockchain rush that's taking place right now. It's going to be a major shift in how we currently do things, because if you haven't noticed, we've moved. I think it's probably speeding up at a more rapid pace, that we're moving away from the old paradigm and old model of definitely the industrial age, and we're solely now in the technical / fintech / computerized paradigm, where everything is going to go through some form of a digital electronic transfer or something of that nature, computer based, where it's going to be a shift for a lot of people. And so with that shift comes basically all the old jobs from yesteryears will fade away, but then through the new opportunities that will be presented, there will be a new industries created that as of now we can't really fathom, just because a lot of stuff isn't up and running yet. But as old things die away, new things come about. So the biggest thing is, for those that are aware of this, is to be on the first trend, on the first train towards new trends. So always look for new trends. And so one of the Gerald Celente, the trends forecaster, you can predict, you can kind of predict the future outcomes based upon past events or whatnot, knowing that everything kind of repeats itself. Is just more of a at a technical, enlightened state of mind type of thing. But with that being the case, if you can predict things that are coming, you can be a part of it on the first round, and you'll be able to benefit from it. So something to keep in mind. Says pertinent skill sets will get you through the next financial meltdown. College degrees, not as much. Will, very good point, my friend. I think, and I've mentioned this several times, that I believe that as things unfold and this debt paradigm comes to an end, you factor in this last little hiccup we had 10 years ago, the recession, led to more and more people deciding to go back to school to pursue higher education, with the hopes of being able to make themselves more marketable, more solidify themselves in the workforce, probably for their current profession, or completely having a complete career shift. But yet moving forward, I don't think it's going to be as easy for people to go to college especially if, of course, the prices won't stay the same. Now the prices will have to correct because you factor in the reason why price is so expensive now because the government subsidizes it. So there's a chart I came across. Let me pull it up. There's a chart I came across which shows, let me see where I find it at. That shows how over the last 10 years, the industries that have received the most government aid are the industries at which the price has inflated at a very alarming rate. And so, of course, college was leading the way, i.e. student loans. So I'm gonna see if I can find this. See if I can find this little visual aid here. And then I think food was another one for just food costs in general. Let me see, where was it at? I think I can find it. And so it's one of the things where, yeah, that whole model of going to school is fading fast. Here we go. So I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can see it on my side. Let me see how this comes out. All right, so it's hard to see, but I'll kind of walk you guys through it for those that can see it. So here we have the very top. Oops, pull it up a little bit more. So the very top, it says here, notice how more expensive lines are areas that are heavily subsidized by the government. This is from Gold Telegraph. But yet, since 1996 especially, or more importantly, like the 06, 04 time frame here, these are all different types of, it says price changes from 1996 to 2016, selected consumer goods and services. So this is just consumer goods and services over the last decade for the most part. And it says CPI of all these items has increased by 53%. And at the very top is textbooks. So for whatever reason, you know, I'm clueless, but other than the fact that it's a very profitable business, you have all these schools now that are very high tech. You know, you walk into school, everyone has laptops or phones or do stuff on their phones. Why is there still a need for textbooks? Like the idea that you have to go buy a thick new edition of a book that costs $100, $200, $300, $400 for a book that you're gonna use for one semester, and you're laying that burden on these kids. Nevertheless, these kids aren't paying for it. They're just adding it to their debt or using their credit cards to swipe for a textbook. And you know, you would think that if you're really operating in the best interest of these kids to help them not go further than that, you would think that it should be everything should be literally ebook now. Everything can be done in digital form, and just give these kids a weekly or monthly membership to this particular site that has all these textbooks to cut down costs. But since looks like 2004 textbooks, the cost has gone up 207% for textbooks. And right along with that, look what's right beneath that. College tuition has gone up 197%. So you factor in those two things, it's not sustainable because kids they're incurring more debt than they might be able to recoup back in the workforce, given the fact that they're also going to be losing a lot of these jobs that they're studying for, if there's even a demand for it. Then child care is up 122%. Medical care is up 105%. Food and beverages is up 64%. Housing is up 61%. And then you go down below, all the areas, and here, listen to this. So the things at the top are all things that are heavily monopolized in reference to the government subsidizing. And so if you go to the very bottom of this, the things that has either maintained relative price or has gone down are things that are, there's heavy competition. And so the very bottom one, TVs over the last 20 years have dropped in price significantly, to where now, because of competition, because of the free market, because of just the idea of there's no monopoly behind it, there's no government subsidizing TVs, you know, you can get a 40-inch HD with some plasma and all that good stuff for like $300 at Walmart right now. And they have all types of brands. And then toys has gone down, software for your computers have gone down because you can just download now on your computer. Cell phones. I remember my very first cell phone in 1988. It was a big, thick Ericsson. It was $150 a month for my bill. I only had 600 minutes, and it wasn't no such thing as text messages or none of that stuff now. But wireless cell phone service now, $35 a month, unlimited everything, clothing, housing. So this is what's happening when the government gets in and foots the bill and boosts up the cost of everything that people truly need. And so this is it's unsustainable. So that was kind of a long rant for the most part, but you get my point, I hope. It says Shane. I guess Shane is singing again with numbers. I guess that's what it is. I never truly understand that. But Shane, maybe you can shine a little light on the whole idea of the numbers. It says, what else? Charles Schwab. What about that? It says college is a racket. These enterprises adopting crypto Fidelity. Yeah, Fidelity Digital Management Assets. That's another thing. We got backed starting on December 12th, I hear. Ameritrade, they are all adopting coins. Right. So like I mentioned a couple live streams ago, no matter what you think about it, pretty soon, whoever you're investing with, they're going to have a product for you. I was actually watching some information tonight, and it's amazing that with so much news on the crypto sector behind and under the scenes, with all these major top financial institutions coming out getting involved, that the price hasn't moved, and that's by of course by plan. But the thing is, everybody's retirement portfolio will have some type of product. It is guaranteed. So, for those that are like, I won't mess with cryptocurrency. I'm not going to do it. That's fine. But yet, without you knowing it, if you're not actively managing your portfolio retirement wise, they're going to roll you into a product that has some crypto in it in 2 years, in 3 years, hands down. So, you can probably opt out of that. But yet, once you see the amount of gains it's going to be incurring in comparison to the stock market, I don't think you're going to be running from that. You probably might be happy that they automated you into that. So just my thoughts. Says our schools haven't changed in 100 years, still the same classroom. Very true. So do you think there will be a reset and turnover to digital currency if there were to be a crash? Very good question. I believe that a part of this, the Treasury and the Federal Reserve is probably in cahoots with the idea of all these stable coins that's coming out. So here we have some of the, I know other than Goldman Sachs, I'd imagine JP Morgan and I think Bank of America and maybe one or two other of the two big to fail banks, they are or already have some form of a stable coin that they're issuing that will be probably ran and orchestrated through their own institution. To me, that lets me know that if Goldman Sachs has the USDC coin, that I wouldn't be surprised if the government or something of that nature allows them to allocate a certain portion of these stable coins that's supposed to be backed by dollars. Them one day breaking the peg between the dollar and those stable coins, and the stable coins being a temporary medium of exchange that we might be used to at that point, because at that point I think everybody will have some type of digital wallet via the app. So in your Bank of America app or whatever app you have, there will be something for a stable coin as an option, and you will be allowed to probably deposit into stable coins to do immediate transactions into other types of cryptocurrencies. And the stable coins could be, for a slight minute before there's a national currency rolled out, they could be considered some form of a tender that banks would allow you to use to pay your mortgage, to pay your debt, as well as to use as a debit for all your automated expenses. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. So don't quote me on that, but it's just interesting how right now, I'm gonna actually look it up, how all the banks now are getting into the stable coins, and we have Gemini, who has a New York approved slash, the first insured and backed and, custodianship, all that good stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some type of rush to get out as many stable coins from the too big to fail banks, so they'll have some liquidity in the form of stable coins and then be able to issue those things. So just my thoughts on the matter. So here's an article here. It says, what we got here? It says, Goldman Sachs backs Circle goes live with currency linked stablecoins. So Goldman Sachs in the crypto business, people. And if they're one of the too big to fail banks, then they are right where they want to be if things begin to either take off, because people will go through the stable coin to then, use that for access to Bitcoin, Litecoin, all those other coins through exchanges. So more exchanges are adopting stable coins now. It's not by coincidence. Let me see. It said, I think the U.S. Treasury will bring out a crypto peg to silver and gold allocation. Ooh, U.S. Treasury. That wouldn't be a bad idea, given the fact that the U.S. Treasury is supposed to be the overseer and the financier of our country. You know, the Secretary of Treasury is supposed to be the one handling our books. But as of lately, they haven't been doing a good job of that because we've allocated that responsibility to the Federal Reserve Bank. So if the U.S. Treasury was to get back into the job they're supposed to be doing on behalf of the United States citizens, that wouldn't be a bad idea. It will be crypto related, of course, because, you know, so here's the thing. Moving forward, the cost of printing papers and minting coins will become very expensive, to where that plays into the whole need to go cashless, because it cuts back cost according to what these people want us to believe. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some type of crypto situation that's rolled out for tax purposes first. And so those that are in the crypto sector, you might get some type of discount or relief from a heavy burden on taxes for all the altcoins and bitcoins if you decide to use the treasury coin to pay your taxes. So typically, I think they're going to come out with some type of sample or test run or test trial. So I can see the Treasury coming out and using some form of a stable coin or their own coin for taxes, which will introduce it to the people. It'll allow the older generation to adopt at a slower pace, because a lot of those people who do pay taxes from the older generation aren't really involved in the crypto sector. So, you know, I wouldn't doubt them trying to roll out some type of coin for the purpose of paying taxes at first. And then it's going to be offered as part of that My IRA, that government backs. Somebody said a tax coin. Yeah, the tax coin, I wouldn't doubt it. It says, might used to foresee the Federal Reserve being abolished. No one. Abolished. I don't think so. Because if the Federal Reserve goes bye-bye, then there goes the too big to fail banks, and the banking sector is the glue. It's the lifeline of our economy. And so if the too big to fail banks go, then that means the Federal Reserve Bank, who's the primary, their sole job is to make sure the too big to fail banks stay liquid. So if one of those go, there goes our entire economy, and that right there would be very different, because as of now, there's nothing set to roll out to give us confidence, you know, that we can have, you know, commerce go back to the same way it was, as well as think about all those Federal Reserve notes that will be wiped away. And so our entire lives have been denominated in a debt instrument that will vanish. And with that comes a lot of heartache and pain. So there has to be some type of alternative first, I believe. It says KYC plus social security number equals no safe haven. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So a part of that whole KYC and social security number, I mentioned this a while back, you know, a part of this next issuance of whatever crypto-based legal tender will be rolled out. And of course, I don't think anything will be rolled out first in our country. It's always somewhere out east, ideally with the idea of Russia looking to do their own cryptocurrency. We got Venezuela with the petro. We got China is looking at something. We have a lot of countries that are going to have something as an example for us to model, because right now we don't want to disrupt this current Federal Reserve, not Federal Reserve, but the reserve currency status we have right now. But that would confuse a lot of people if there was some type of alternative that we introduced in the midst of still having that reins of a reserve currency. So I don't see us announcing any type of alternative just yet. I think our government is going to do what they've been doing all along, which is to milk the remaining years of having the reserve currency until it's no longer. It says, do you think crypto mining will become profitable again? If so, for how long? Breland Clark, as far as it being profitable, I'm not too well versed in the whole mining aspect, other than knowing that a part of the protocol is the whole halving, whatever, however you pronounce that, halving, whatever. But you get the point of how every couple years or so there's less of a reward for miners, and so I believe that is a very great benefit of cryptocurrencies, that over time it becomes harder to mine, and there's a less of a reward for miners, because they are the ones that kind of, they could gain power as far as the monopolizing certain coins. So it'll be less of an incentive for them to mine, and that means the coins in circulation could appreciate in value, because that would slow down the rate of new coins being brought into circulation, which is more deflationary, but it controls inflation. So I think it could stable off down the line. So I hope that there will be some type of way of working that out. But we're just in crypto 1.0 right now, so I think that'll be ironed out pretty soon. And then as far as proof of work, I'm not really a fan for the most part. I don't really know too much about it in detail, but proof of stake has more of a benefit for the holders of those coins. So I rather, there be a certain amount of coins introduced up front, and people are incentivized by saving them, by earning some type of rewards, i.e. interest, which we don't receive from banks anymore. So just my thought. happening. Halvey. Psychic said the U.S. will be left behind when crypto is concerned. Yes, not psychic. Yeah, I don't really do the psychic things, but yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. It says mining is not profitable unless you have a warehouse full of GPUs. You can gain $1 for every terabyte mined. Yeah, and at this current rate, I don't think that's going to be profitable, because the cost on that will continue to increase. And it's the same with mining precious metals. It's hard to bring forth something of value and take a loss. Just like Rick Rule was mentioning earlier with the uranium, he's like, the cost of getting it out the ground is far more expensive than the actual cost to sell it, to where apart from trying to do it in bulk, which I'm sure miners can't mint new coins in bulk, it's going to be very unprofitable. So they're going to have to come up with some type of option. John Moore, how you doing, my friend? It says mining will be profitable if you have a cheap source of energy. Yeah, that's true. And so it's just a matter of, what source of energy, I guess, John, whether it be solar, wind, nuclear. I mean, I don't think the best version, or the best invention of how to create energy has been revealed yet. I've heard something about 0-point energy, which is some type of next wave, out of this world type of energy creation that is supposed to be very cheap and whatever. Someone says hydroelectric is the best now. I don't doubt it. It says you need solar power, wind power, and turbine. Yeah, and so a lot of people won't be able to afford to have facilities that would create that much power, even though I'm sure you can tap into a lot of cities or whatnot, those out in the countryside, and probably use some of that power, I would imagine. But it looks like we have a call, so let's find out what the first call this evening is about. Oops. I'm sorry, caller. Can you call back again? I'm just fumbling everything today. So give me a call back, and I'll definitely get you on air. Yeah, so give me a call back. What guy says, Mike, you misunderstand something. Yes, there is an halving, but it's expected that as the number of transactions increase, so do the fees. Miners get reward plus fees. Okay, Spirit King, that could be very true. As I mentioned, the whole mining aspect is something I haven't really dived into, to where I could have even mentioned that. So, but I imagine for those who have a big infrastructure now, they won't move forth into acquiring any more if it's not going to be profitable for them. That's the whole point in the game in the mining sector. So, but anyway, I guess at the end of the day, it's a matter of for those that are not mining, holding on to some coins that will increase in value as they're mining or not mining. It says LTC fees are dropping 10 times the next release of LT Core. Yeah, John, I saw that today. And my thing is, with LTC fees, they're already pretty low. So I'm trying to think how, apart from them being, what is it going to be free? Like, I mean, what, I'm not sure. Like LTC was already cheap. So I'm not sure what, how can it get any cheaper other than it being free? It says Lightning nodes for BTC will be the new method of mining added. Yeah, Lightning node, the Lightning nodes and the Lightning network, other than just hearing about it a lot, Don't really know much about it other than hearing that it's the whole, it will be the method in which it'll make Bitcoin more scalable, as well as faster, and all the other benefits that come along with that. So hopefully it works well. It says Monero fees also dropped. Yep, I saw that. Even Monero is forking and dramatically lowering its fees too. So I wonder, is Monero trying to get more of a say-so in this market, because they're already a top coin, but I wonder what incentivized them to want to drop those fees. I've never done transactions in Monero, so I'm not too familiar with it. Anyway, Tony, what's up, my friend? There are alternatives to nuclear energy. Don't use uranium. Yeah, D. I personally, because when it comes to nuclear reactors, a lot of people aren't even aware of the fact that the Fukushima in Japan, to my knowledge, is still spewing all types of radioactive type material, to where there's graphs out here on the web that shows how polluted with radioactive waste the ocean is. And so I'm thinking, like, if those rods that are, I heard it takes 10, 20 years for the rods to the radioactiveness to dial back or to whatever. So yeah, once the nuclear is up and running, that stuff is a danger, because I don't think you can't really build a facility that's earthquake proof or hurricane proof, to where there's a natural disaster that can't bring that thing down. And then where does all that nuclear waste go? It goes into our water streams. And so water, I think it was Rick a while back when I was talking to him, mentioned that water is the most valuable commodity that we have. And once we piss off our water, we're gonna find out how important it really is. Blue Orion, thank you. Great job, Mike. Keep up the work. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you for that. Appreciate that a lot. It says, Angel, I bought 0x last week. It is an ERC20 coin. Yes. And speaking of which, anyone here, because this is obviously turned into somewhat of it looks like a nuclear / crypto talk, but I have a question for anybody out there that might know this. When it comes to the Ethereum Classic, it was a fork from Ethereum. And so that particular chain of coins is ERC23. Has there been any development with ERC23 tokens? Is anybody well versed in Ethereum Classic? Feel free to chime in. It says, Mike, there is always thorium and salt reactors which do not melt. Only reason they choose uranium nuclear power was to get plutonium for warheads. Ooh, Spirit, that's some good stuff there, my friend. Thorium salt reactors. I've never heard of a thorium salt reactor. That's some big stuff there, man. So it's always a pleasure to listen to your show, Mike. Thank you. Appreciate that. Crypto about to go nuclear. Yeah, there will be some things happening in that sector. Spirit King over 100, correct. You're 100 great. Fact, Spirit, good. All right, so people, let me get back to the main conversation. I want to get your thoughts on today's interview with Rick Rule. Did anyone have a chance to, tune in? And, I had my 3 or 4 calls, of which I couldn't answer because I was dealing with some internet stuff, and Skype, quit on me. And then I looked at the screen, it was buffering. And so we're just talking away and no one's even listening. And so, man, back December 12th. And here's the thing. I think, and this is just my thought, my prediction, we could experience some kind of Q4 rally with the crypto market, coin market cap, because once it goes over 800 million or 800 billion like it did last year, it's going to hover around that 1 trillion mark for a while. But yeah, I don't think they're ready for that yet, because as you see, backed Fidelity Asset Management, the Gemini, we have, you name it, all those other institutions that are, okay, here's another thought that just came to mind. I don't think the price is going to really be stable and going to shoot off to the moon until the too big to fail banks all have their exchanges and their stable coins up and running. So I'm going to, so somebody can hold me to that, we'll see. But just because it doesn't seem like it's time to let that thing go, because when it goes, it's going to go global. So it's not going to be it's just not limited to the U.S. This is going to be a global chain of events happening as far as everybody rushing into it. It says Fidelity is buying Quantum Coin. Really? Is that word on the streets, or that's something that you have inside information on? because I love quantum. I don't love it. I'm sorry. I don't love it. I'm interested in that project. Put it like that. It says Cliff, I said a while ago that Ether will merge with another asset and Unity Bridge for ETC and Ethereum could make those web bot predictions a hit. Yeah, and so the reason I've mentioned ETC is because I actually saw on a news report a while back, Mike Novogratz, I think it was Mike Novogratz, he showed his company's portfolio holdings, and if I'm correct, he had almost 50% Ethereum Classic and no Ethereum. So I'm thinking, like, what does Mike Novogratz know that we don't know? But caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Okay. Well, I had you online. Give me a call back if you want to be on air, my friend. I appreciate you being patient. I was waiting on you to say something. It says, Mike, have you ever heard of the CAFRs? I don't think so. Shine some light on that for me. It says Filecoin. So I watched it and got a lot of it. Perspective is always nice. Yeah, Rick is a very, what's great about having Rick Rule, he's a guy who's been there, done that. He told me a while back that, at this point of his life, he's so far well off monetarily that, it's his duty. He considers his duty to try to share information because he's done so well, financially in the last umpteen years. So this guy, the fact that he'll be willing to come on a channel and, talk about rethinking the dollar, and he runs a major financial institution himself, lets me know that, it's just a blessing to have him join us. So I'm appreciative of him taking time to join us. All right, let me see. I'm on here. Let me see if somebody gonna say something. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, good evening. This is So L. My name is So L from High Frequency Radio Network.
Hey there, how you doing? I'm doing good, my friend. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I tune in quite a bit, man. It's my first time calling in, man. First, I want to say that I appreciate it and big up for the information that you put out with regards to real money.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
I think it's going to be important for people to be properly structured when this new transition happens. But I did want to say something I wanted to ask while we're talking about crypto.
Yeah.
And maybe you didn't know.
Okay.
But I own crypto through exchanges, and I got the exchanges set up with contract trusts.
Okay.
So I know Kraken allows that, and I know Kraken, Gemini, they allow it. Now, in order to exchange at higher levels above 10,000 or something like that, they want a KYC.
Yeah.
But you can still set up these accounts with contract trusts for privacy. Now, I always recommend that, we own nothing, control everything. So when we're talking about owning these assets, when we're talking about owning crypto, and we're talking about having real money and stuff, it's vitally important, in my opinion, that we control them through certain entities that do not owe their existence to legislation. So when the states and stuff try to legislate against LLCs, corporations and stuff, we're holding our assets in entities that are outside of that legislation. So I just wanted to ask if you are familiar with anything like that, if you've seen anything like that.
I unfortunately I have not. And so you mentioned that the exchanges that are not compliant to government legislation, and so it was. I remember 6 or 7 exchanges based here in the U.S. received a letter from the Department of Justice inquiring it, but that they opened up some books and showed some things. And so was Kraken one of the exchanges that did not comply?
Kraken and Gemini, from what I understand. But what I'm saying is, if like, let's say, because I deal in trusts, so I don't own anything. So if you have a trust account that's like an actual contract trust, and you holding the crypto that way, when they do a sweep through the exchanges for Social Security numbers, they're only going to get a trust EIN, so it's not going to pop up. They're going to have to do some more rigorous investigation to find that, and then find a direct correlation or this positive authority, and then they're going to have to pierce the trust in order to tax those coins or the capital gains of the coin or metals to the individual.
Yeah.
So that's really what I'm talking about. Owning these assets with an entity that is not subject to state or federal legislation, and that's the contract trust.
Okay, so I wasn't even familiar with that, so I appreciate you calling and sharing that information. Now, the contract trust, the way is that a certain company, or that's the method in which you're using? And do you actually hold your cryptos, or is it in that trust that you're referring to?
Right. So the crypto exchange, they allow you to set up the exchange account through different entities. So
Okay.
not just the individual. So you can set it up through trusts, corporations, LLCs. So they accept that. But a contract trust is a trust that does not owe its existence to legislation. So it owes its existence to the contract. So therefore, it's not governed by legislation. So, you know, this is the type of entities, this is how, you know, the elite are set up, through contract entities.
Okay. So I am definitely learning something. So I peeped that. So I just typed in contract trust. Some things came up here. So definitely, you know, I learned something. So I appreciate you sharing that information, my friend.
Yeah, no problem. The IRS recognizes 3 types of trust. That's simple, grantor, and complex. So we're looking at complex. And you should definitely, know, and, you know, the listeners should look into, you know, a complex contract trust.
Complex
And,
trust.
you know, the proper administration of these entities.
All right, now do me a favor. That information you're sharing, give me some links and put it in the comment section below this video tonight or tomorrow when we get a chance. And it gives us a chance to go back and click on and scroll on some things. And I would definitely love to look into it further myself. So can you shoot us some links that you would recommend us taking a look at?
Yeah, I'm actually traveling right now, but the best thing to do is go to our website, and it's welcome to the foundation.
I'm sorry. Okay, well, I got another. Say welcome to the who?
Foundation.
Welcome to the foundation. Welcome to the foundation.com. Foundation.com. All right. Oh, I appreciate you calling in, my friend. Thanks for sharing that information with us. Definitely, I'll check that out.
No problem. Have a great night.
All right, you too, buddy. Thanks.
Yeah, peace.
Interesting. Yeah, that was some interesting information there. It's always good to have some people who are well informed on a variety of matters, and that right there definitely sounds like something worth checking out. So I got my phone, people calling in my phone, so phone going off. So I apologize for that. So anyway, so I missed about 2 or 3 calls right there. So feel free to call back in, and we'll get you on there. And so, yeah, man, some good stuff going on here. We're educating ourselves and being educated. Says go to my website. It says welcome for the True Foundation. In setting, I hold it and own it. Fire Mozilla Fox. Don't forget trust are still third-party risk. Yeah, so I believe that because this industry, it's in and of itself is new. So we are going to learn on the fly. I think it, you know, conventional ways of holding funds with trust, as well as just contracts, all that stuff is in the process of being rewritten, I believe, with this digital ledger stuff. So, hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. This is Jeff from Florida. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Jeff. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind this night?
Hey, man. I saw that interview you had earlier with Rick, and it was a good interview. But, hey, the reason why I was calling, I saw your chart you posted earlier, and you were showing about, you know, how the cost of college has increased, and then, you know, the cost of a TV has decreased.
Yeah.
But I was just reading this article on Zero Hedge, and if you get a minute, I would appreciate it if you Google it or pull it up so the viewers can see it. And the title of the article is called Middle Class Destroyed. 50% of all American workers make less than $30,533 a year. Now, it's an article from one of your guests that you've had on before, Michael Schneider.
Yeah.
And if you look in the article, I'm just going to give you the headlights of what it says. It says 34% of American workers make under $20,000 a year. This says 48% make $30,000 a year or less. And it says 59% of all workers make less than $40,000 a year, which is a $20 an hour job. And then it says 68% of all American workers make less than $50,000 a year. So, I mean, it just kind of, it's just how we talked a week or so ago when I was talking to you about how we're going to have inflation is going to gradually hit. But meanwhile, people's paychecks, by the time they get done paying their overhead expenses, there's almost nothing left. And then you start seeing the ripple effect of shopping malls closing down, Toys R Us, JCPenney's, Sears, and all these other retail centers that depend on, you know, people spending with their discretionary income is going to go down further and further and further and further. So I just want to bring that to your attention, and I want all of our listeners and viewers to be of a mindset of not just thinking I'm just going to do the bare minimum and work my 9-to-5 job. We're going to have to figure out ways to make income, you know, online. We need to figure out ways to do maybe work a second job on the weekends or do something else because this thing here where, half the country makes less than $15 an hour, and then try to figure out how you're going to pay your light bill because, the cost of living is going to gradually keep increasing. Yeah. And meanwhile, it seems like your paycheck is staying stagnant. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. I got the article up here.
I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and if you could talk about that for a little bit, I would appreciate it. I'll let you go because I know you're busy and you got other callers, but you've been doing a good job. I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. And I see your links. It's just hard to get to all the links that you post and then ones I research. But keep doing what you're doing, my friend. I appreciate your support.
All right, I do what I can to help out.
Thank you.
See you later, man. I appreciate it.
All right, be good. Yep, thanks.
Bye.
Interesting. So yeah, here's the article here. And so this is, Michael Snyder joined me. Actually, I got to reach out to Mike and see if he'll get back on here with me. It was a great, so I think it was about 3 years ago, we talked about the beginning of the end, where he talked about a lot of things that we're seeing now. But this is very interesting in reference to this, just the title alone. Middle class destroyed. 50% of all American workers make less than $30,000 a year, which equals, less than $15. That's before taxes. So let me see here. It's just some lines that says the deeper we dig into the numbers provided by Social Security, the more depressing they become. Here are just some examples from a Visional website. It says 34% of all American workers make less than $20,000 a year. 68% of Americans made less than $50,000 last year. 68%. So, and I think about the idea of these numbers here, 68% of American workers. If you look at the demographics of our country, and what better way than to pull it up? But if a third isn't working because they're out of the job force, let me see here. So if you look at here, we currently have 52 million people who are retired. So they're not, day-to-day in the workforce. So that's out of 300,000. That's what's that? About a sixth of the population right there. Then we have, what else we got here? U.S. population is 328 million. Then we have 96 million, which is 1/3 not in the labor force, which means that persons who are neither employed nor unemployed are not in the labor force. So they just completely don't get registered anymore. So just say round up 100,000 plus 50,000. So that's 150,000, almost half the population that's not actively working. And then we have full-time workers supposed to be 129, part-time workers 27 million, self-employed 8 million. And so that right there, those numbers is even more shocking because you think about, they saying 64% of the people who work, and it's only half of the 300 million actually working. So yeah, that's interesting. Where'd I go? Very, very interesting. What else we got here? It says, and the stock market has already dropped. What else we got? So first of all, your family is going to need somewhere to live, especially on the East Coast, West Coast. Yeah, so living on the East Coast or West Coast is expensive, and the pricing of housing is going up. Secondly, you also need to pay your utility bills and other home-related expenses. It says, extremely conservative estimate the total will be $300 a month. So basically, it's breaking down the total for expenditures currently with those that make $33,000 or so. It says now we are already up to $1,500 a month. So yeah, people, I put this link here in the chat if you guys want to click on it and find out more. But once again, the numbers probably don't really do us justice in relation to how uncomfortable things could get if there was a sudden spike in inflation, which is just a matter of time. And how I believe it might play out is that once there's another market correction, monetary policy and fiscal policy will collide. The government will go on a spending spree by borrowing. The Federal Reserve will be printing, and there's going to be more digits created than will be needed, or that will be competing for goods and services that will be not as plentiful. And then, the price tag on a lot of items that we need every day will go up. That's usually how it works. It says the Federal Reserve note is at a 20-year high. Yay, Federal Reserve note. 20-year high. Federal Reserve note. It says we were all to learn toenail, including myself. It says got silver. Here in upstate New York, a 1-bedroom apartment goes for $1,000 per month. Ah, man, a 1-bedroom apartment. I saw videos of, I think it was in the city, like I'm not sure where in New York City, but they were actually taking older apartments, buildings, and they're basically cutting rooms in half now and making they're turning like normal size apartments that are already small, and they're chopping them in half and making them more like more like college dorms. And people are paying $1,000 for a closet. Like literally, you can only fit a foldable bed in that closet. And people are paying $1,000 a month to sleep in the closet. And my thing is, if you're not born there, all your family from there, why would you even stay in New York? Federal Reserve is federal as Federal Express. Speaking of Federal Express or FedEx, I think Amazon gonna take them out of business pretty soon. I don't have 500 saved. I am worse than debt, including student loans, so I am actually minus or negative in wealth. Yeah, man, that's real talk there. And a lot of people are, not too far off from that situation. There's already more money than the needed. Yeah, and the funds you're talking about, Earl, is in digits. And so I've done videos in the past. Actually, my computer got wiped, as I mentioned, over the weekend, so I lost a lot of my graphics. But the total money supply in paper form is $1.5 or so trillion in total paper, but it's like 30 trillion worth of digital stuff floating around. So that's just fractional reserve banking. How the banks you can deposit 100 and they can spin off a new 90. They can spin off 90% of that in new notes and new credit. Yeah, that's not gonna be going on for much longer. Borrow the money to pay $1,000 a month. Yeah. San Francisco, Chicago, and New York. Yeah, man. That's not places that in this current time frame is affordable for most people. Yeah, but as always, people, we're drawing towards the end of our conversation. We're approaching our hour mark. So if you've enjoyed the chat, make sure you guys give us a thumbs up. Let me see how many thumbs up we got. So there's about 70 people tuning in right now, and there's 19 thumbs up. Is there any way possible that people will be willing to click the thumbs up button just for the sake of getting more newer viewers into this fold here? So if you're watching this, if you've enjoyed the back and forth, of which we've had a lot of people kick a lot of interesting knowledge tonight, as always, don't be afraid to just tap that thumbs up button and show your support for Rethinking the Dollar, which helps more people come into the fold. And then also, any new viewers out there, make sure you guys let me know where you're watching us from. We'd like to make sure we welcome you with open arms to the RTD Live Talk chat, because your voice is very, very appreciated and needed. That's why this number above my head, 833 Live RTD, is for you to call in and let us know what's on your mind, as we got some calls tonight and people definitely share some knowledge. So it's always great to learn from a variety of people who are well informed and awoke in this day and age. So as always, people, I appreciate you guys chiming in, my friend. We have above my head, we have on this side over here, Patreon. If you guys want to support the channel, feel free to do so. And then also, I do accept Bitcoin as well as Litecoin. And so if you want to make a small contribution, nothing's too small to be a blessing. So I appreciate you guys, your support and tuning in. So other than that, everybody be safe, be good. Be back at you tomorrow. Got some more videos coming for you. And other than that, enjoy your evening, be safe, and share this video. Give it a thumbs up, once again. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Follow me on the links down here. If you guys like, I share articles throughout the day. And click the links down below for more information on some free things that I try to give away to you guys. And the Litecoin. I didn't get a chance to talk about the Litecoin giveaway, people. So let me do that real quick. Below this video in the description, for those that are new or not, there's no strings attached. It's simple. Click the link, enter with your email address. You get a chance to earn points. The person with the most points on Thursday night gets rewarded. That's how it goes. So the goal is to promote adoption as well as awareness through the RTD channel, and help more people find out about this great community we have here, people. So definitely click the link, get subscribed, and share the links on your side and enter to win. And once it's all said and done, send me your Litecoin address. I'm gonna send you 3 coins. So other than that, people, be safe. Any questions, feel free to leave comments in the chat, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.